Welcome everyone to This Week in Svelte episode 106. Today it will probably also be a short one, not that I planned to, but we had to add a showcase, but then it got cancelled. So yeah, we are kind of stuck with just the changelog, and I think it's also kind of a short one, but it is what it is. We can try to mutate it. So I don't know if this is actually the thing that... yeah, okay, so there was actually a test that was not working in a real app, but yeah, I cannot, for the life of me, make the test fail without it. So basically, I think it was something like this. So if you were mutating one item in legacy mode, if you were mutating one item inside an H block, the summary does not update. So I think, yeah, like if you do something like this is not updating for some reason. It was fixed in the latest version, so it is fine, but yeah, so this, yeah, this is actually fixed now. So yeah, let's see, fix correctly transform reassignment to class fields in SSR mode. So this was a problem, I think, when you are reassigning a class field during SSR. We made some change recently to that, and it was not using, if I'm not mistaken, I think I actually opened this PR. Let's see. No, Ocean. Oh no, I actually caused this bug. So, but it was kind of an edge case. But basically, like if you were doing something like this.foo.bar, and bar was also a property of the class, it was wrongly converting this to this, and so it was causing a problem, by the way. So yeah, I actually caused this bug, sorry. But Ocean, computer guy, actually fixed it. Avoid recursionary niche block visitors. This is actually it's kind of a weird one, because this was an infinite loop, but in the compiler, not in the code, in the resulting code, but just in the compiler. We had to revert a PR. So some times ago, there was this this guy that, yeah, Ivanus actually sent this PR full autocompletion of all the possible elements, which is nice. But since technically you don't need to use an HTML element at all costs, it can be whatever you want. Technically, this is, let me see if I can, svelte.dev/playground. So technically, if you're using Svelte element, for example, this is equal to, you can actually do my element like this. So this needs to be, you need to be able to do this kind of stuff. And so the typing needs to reflect, I don't know why it's not zoomed in. The type needs to reflect this kind of, behavior. And currently, since unfortunately in TypeScript, we have to add a general key string, but this is preventing you from getting autocompletion. There is a trick in TypeScript to do this. So basically, if you do something like this, you can write what you want, but you still get autocompletion for the various element. So this was actually working. However, this caused another issue that was a bit more annoying to deal with. Like, you had no way of doing that, because this basically from the report, I was not able to reproduce it, but I was able to reproduce this last one, like produce an union type that is too complex to represent. This is something that is very annoying in this is actually something that is very annoying in TypeScript, because basically, like, TypeScript can only like represent union types for up to 10,000, I think, which is a lot element. And if you have a union type that is bigger than that, it straight up gives you an error. And I suppose I still need to investigate if we have a way to like have bot word. But I suppose what's happening is that once you added it string and that kind of stuff, the union type is too big because it's literally every possible string, and so it's failing. So we had, unfortunately, to revert that. There was also a problem destructuring snippet arguments that was fixed. So if you remember last week, we actually had we have a PR recently that basically it's fixing the structuring of iterators. However, that caused a bit of problems everywhere you could use a destructuring. So if you are using a destructuring somewhere and you run into an issue, please open an issue on the repo, because it's probably easy to fix, but we need to, like, maybe we are missing something. One thing that we were missing is the structuring snippet arguments, but now is actually fixed. So that's it for Svelte. Let's see if we have some Svelte Git release, and we do, which is omit stack when logging 404 errors. So this was actually part of a bigger fix. And the reason why we like, you notice that probably when you get a 404 error in Svelte Git, you get a huge error log in the console, because we were also logging the whole stack trace, which is a bit annoying, especially when there is this new thing that is coming up. But basically, if you are developing something locally, so if you're on localhost and you open your DevTools, the DevTools is going to make a request to your dev server for, I think, like, there is a specific like .well-know DevTools and stuff like that. And this is something that is actually quite interesting, because if you install a Vite plugin that is actually provided by Chrome, if I'm not mistaken, this allows Chrome to provide, to like get the handle, like the location of your repo. And the very nice thing is that basically you get to edit your files inside your Chrome DevTools, and you can actually like change something directly from Chrome, and it will actually be persisted in your file system. So it's pretty powerful. And I think we actually thought about including it by default in Svelte Git. But I think we talked about it and we said, okay, no, let's say that like we can just point to this Vite plugin that people can actually add if they want. It's very easy. Like, you just need to install the Vite plugin, add it to the list of plugins, and from that moment on, you basically have a workspace folder in your DevTools, and you can literally edit your website, your local website, from the DevTools. So if you need to make small changes, it's actually easy to do. Or just pay attention, especially for Svelte files, because if you get your Svelte file in a state that is not compilable, I think that will basically break the workspace. So you would have no way to fix it, basically. But yeah, let's see if we have any new. We have a new release of Vite plugins Svelte. And we have this scope CSS to JS module to enable tree shaking scope CSS from unused component. requires Vite 6.2 and Svelte 5.26. So if you are on Svelte 5.26 and Vite 6.2, there is this new minor change to Vite plugin Svelte that basically unlock CSS tree shaking for scoped stuff if you are like if that component is unused. This is a new release of Vite that unlocked this, and we also included something in Svelte to allow Vite plugin Svelte to know if it can tree shake CSS, which is pretty nice. It also added Svelte CLSX. So CLSX is now a dependency of Svelte, and it's now automatically added to optimize dep.include to avoid page reload when using Vite 6 and npm. So if you were using PMPM, this was not a problem, but if you were using npm, basically what happened is that CLSX was not discovered until you actually loaded the page. And so this happened. What happened is that like you loaded the page, CLSX was immediately discovered and the page was reloaded. So this was a bit annoying to deal with, and so now this is automatically added to the dependency to optimize, and this means that basically Vite will automatically optimize this dependency as soon as you launch the dev server, and it will not reload the application. Let's see, we have a new release of ESLint. Plugin Svelte. From Baseball Yama, which is part of the dev team of the Svelte core team, use additional properties instead of ignore read-only to match the ESLint core rule option name. Okay, so it's mainly a patch basically, and we don't have much more. So maybe it's actually over, but let's switch to the tracker. So this is actually something new that Antoine added to Svelte Changelog, and what this does is basically check for pull requests that are from member core teams, and it's from member core teams and like that had recent activity. I think there is how it works. Like Antoine actually added this while I was because in a previous This Week in Svelte I was asking myself, I wonder how does it work. So all content, be it issue, discussion or PR, is filtered to only get display if uttered by the orgs member since last year. For PRs, an additional filtering is performed to not pick any PR that fixes any issue. So this is basically just for features. All of this is sorted by update date, and that's it. So this is basically what the Svelte core team is up to, and I think this is actually quite old. Like it's on May 20, but it was updated 16 days ago. This is a PR that I think Rich was working on, and yeah, it's basically to get a frame. So we have an on-frame function that basically does this, and you basically like repeat this on request animation frame. Well, yeah, this is a nice PR that got recently updated, apparently 6 commit. I suppose, oh, he actually worked on it a bit. Committed on 12th of April. So either maybe got a new comment. May 20, yeah, that should be it. We have something similar in Rude. Okay. Yeah, by the way, like this is also something that, so basically like something similar, it's already implemented in Rund, and if you don't know about Rund, Rund is a set of utility functions for Svelte. And so in Rund, we actually have animation frames, that is actually basically what Rich was proposing. So you can create a new animation frame, you have an FPS limit if you want, and you get this callback that basically gets invoked on any new animation frame. So if you need something like this, check out Ruined, which is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool project. Update store documentation, more iteration mismatch stuff. Obviously we have asynchronous Svelte, and I think we actually got some new comment probably here. If you didn't see this, let's see if we have any new comment. Yeah. 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 Okay. So if you didn't see, basically this is a pretty huge discussion that we are having about be able to use await inside Svelte component. We actually visited, like, checked out this kind of stuff. This kind of stuff, sorry, I was reading here. We are actually discussing, like, we visited this kind of stuff in a previous episode of This Week in Svelte. We also have this issue that I've opened. This is for Svelte 6 because, and I'll also ask you, so we are having a bit of a discussion here. So the current media query, the current media query class basically auto-parenthesize your media query. And since basically we added the auto-parenthesis logic before releasing it, but it had multiple issues, and we had to patch it with special cases and regexes. And so probably I don't know if we should remove it. We were having a discussion below this because obviously Rich saying, like, if we don't have any issue, I quite like the current behavior. So if we fixed every problem, we can probably keep it. And as I've said, like, the current implementation actually handles the issue. It could be error prone, and we need to constantly adapt if, like, new keywords are released and stuff like that. But I think we should have a discussion before actually do both of the things. So if you have any thought on the media query auto-parenthesis logic, please discuss on the issue and let us know what you think. And guys, I think that's actually it. Unfortunately today it's a very short episode. Changelog.dev. It's a very short episode, but yeah, unfortunately that's it. We had some issue with like we needed to have a showcase and it was cancelled. So I hope you still learned something, and I hope you still enjoyed this 20 minutes with me explaining a bit of the changelog. And I'll see you guys next week. I don't think so, because I'll probably be traveling. But if it's not next week, it's probably the next one. And thank you for having me. See you next week. Bye.